Welcome back to No One Asked Us. We are episode 9 now, 9 episodes in, and we haven't stopped yet. Somehow we are still producing episodes. I'm Craig Choate. That is Logan Lee over there. Follow us. Our show Twitter is above at No One Asked Us Pod. Mine's below at Craig W. Choate. That is Logan's at the Logan Lee. Also YouTube. Subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Let us know what you like, what you want to hear. And we will try and get it in our next podcast. Logan, I'm back from
Craig. Welcome
undisclosed
back.
Location. How you doing?
I'm wonderful, Craig. How are you? You look a little tan, so we can determine that you were in a warmer climate. So you've gained some some color, so that's good.
I thought you were gonna say you've gained some weight.
I did not say that. Can't tell from chest up, but no, you look like you got some color. You wore some sunglasses. I saw a Snapchat that you were playing tennis. So that's good. You were at least getting out and getting some exercise. How was your tennis game?
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
The people I was playing against got a little pissed off at me because I kept slicing down on the ball and putting the backspin on it. And let's just say
ping pong, huh?
Let's just say that they weren't my age. They were a little bit older. So they were not very happy with me putting the spin on it. But it was fun. Yeah. Someone else asked where I went. I just said, I'll just tell you there were palm trees. So where there's palm trees, there's sunshine, and it was awesome. There was a beach, but we don't need to go any farther than that. So while I was gone, and since our last episode, there's actually been quite a bit of stuff going on for the Illini, which is mostly what we talk about here on No One Asked Us. So we'll just dive right into it. Not a surprise to anyone. Kofi Cockburn declares for the NBA draft. I don't think I would have lost my marbles if he said, I'm not declaring, because I think it was pretty obvious that he was at least going to declare. I'm trying to pull up his actual post here for a second so I can read what he said. The verbiage was kind of vague in my eyes.
Everything's been vague. Yeah. Everything from every announcement from any player has just been vague.
Right.
And I think that's just kind of their way of I don't know. But yeah, you're right.
So he has 4 paragraphs thanking everyone, coaches, players, staff, fans. And then in the last paragraph, he says, basketball took me places that I wouldn't dare to dream of as a boy. It taught me lessons in life. The NBA has been a lifelong dream of mine, and I am ready to go to the next level and see what's in store for me. This journey is really special to me, and I appreciate everyone who played a part in getting me here, 21 out. So he never specifically says, I'm declaring for the NBA draft. He never says if he's hiring an agent, an NCAA agent, never says anything about leaving college eligibility open. So it's kind of confusing. In my eyes, it's one of those where he's declaring similar to last year, going to get some feedback, then he'll make the decision. Again, not surprised. So what goes through your mind when you see that? Because it's expected, but do you read anything into how it came off?
No. I mean, I interpret it as just as you've said. I mean, he's going to test the waters again, see what the feedback says. I think I would love to have Kofi back, and we can talk about it here as we get a little further down the show. There's still a very large hole on this roster. So I would love to get him back to help fill that. But from Kofi's standpoint, I don't know what else he's going to prove at the college level. He is what he is, and I don't. He's not going to change. He's not going to become more athletic. He's not going to develop a jump shot. Those things aren't going to happen to help his draft stock. So, if he's not going to be a first round pick, he may not even be a second round pick, but he can get paid to play basketball, whether that's in this country or another country, whether that's in the G League, whatever. Somebody will take a chance on him. He can get paid to do it. So I'm not shocked, not surprised. Again, would love to see him back because, as I said, there's going to be a huge hole in the post going into next season. So I'd love to still have him And I think there's certainly still a chance that he does come back, but as I said, I don't know what there is for him to prove. I think last year it was easy for him to come back when he knew Iowa was coming back, and they had a really good shot, the two of them with the pieces around to do something. And not that Illinois with Kofi couldn't be good this coming season. They could be really good, but they're not going to be a national title contender like I think they thought they were going into last year. And obviously they were, being a 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament champion. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. I'm not surprised. We'll see what happens, but it's just a matter of him deciding what he wants to do and what he thinks he can do and what's important to him. If it's making money and supporting family and all that stuff, more power to him. I can't blame him at all.
Yeah, I think a big part of his decision is his age, because he is 21 years old, which is old for a sophomore. He would be 22. He'd be 22 next year, returning as a junior to college. Right. And the NBA is just getting younger and younger. I mean, you've got MVP candidates in the NBA that are younger than Kofi. So I think that's a huge part of what his decision could come down to. Like you said, he's going to make money playing basketball somewhere. I did actually see it wasn't first round. It was, I forgot who put it out. Maybe USA Today did a mock draft, and they had Kofi at 34, which is early second round. And that's by far the earliest I've seen anyone have him.
I haven't even seen that.
So that's not what the NBA is anymore. But I would not expect Kofi back just because of all those factors that you said, how he can't really improve his stock. The only thing would be a jumper and learning how to guard the pick and roll a little bit better. But you can't teach size, which is exactly what he has. So someone's going to take a chance on him. I would expect a late second round or undrafted free agent signing for him. Now he could go to the combine, or I don't even know if he's invited to the combine, but he could test and grade really well and jump up into a draft pick. But at this point, who knows how the pre-draft process is going to work? I don't think anyone's really sure of that. But that leads to another thing where Jermaine Hamlin, we're recording this Tuesday night about 8:00 Central. Jermaine Hamlin just entered the transfer portal. So he's gone. Kofi's potentially gone. Georgie has already said he's gone. Those are like your three biggest players, like height-wise and size-wise on the roster. So like you said, there is a massive hole in the post for the Illini next year. Omar Payne, the only 5 that I can think of off the top of my head that's coming back. So
Coleman Hawkins is the only other post player. He's more like a 6'10" small forward.
Right, post in quotes, like you said. He's not really a bang 4 in the post. So I'm gonna have to hit the transfer portal for that because none of the freshman signees are post players either. So keep an eye out for a commit, because they're gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to do something to fill the post because literally everyone is gone, like you said, except for Hawkins. I don't think Grandison can play the 4.
No, but at this point, I mean, that Grandison and even DeMonte play the 4 this year. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think there's still a good chance DeMonte comes back. So I wouldn't rule it out that that's what you're looking at again. And it's definitely not ideal. And I know they would really love to have Grandison playing the 3. But yeah, they gotta find somebody. There's not a lot of names out there now. A lot of things can still change. Obviously, players are still entering the portal, and we could go all summer long with this stuff. So there's literally nothing. There's nothing is a guarantee at this point, and it's still going to be very fluid. Everything changes by the day, but that's clearly where they have the hole right now. I mean, and we'll talk about it, but I mean, the guard position for the most part is pretty set. Yeah. They could still obviously use some help, but it's the post that they're going to need the bodies.
Yeah. Again, Kofi is there's still a chance he comes back, but so I don't want to talk too much about his legacy at Illinois yet, but how much fun has it been to watch Illinois have a legit 5-man, something they haven't had, I think, probably since Sean Pruitt, maybe. I guess Myers,
Myers.
but he was stepping out, and he wasn't taking
No,
as many threes now than he
right.
was now.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to have a big man because Illinois has struggled in the post for so long.
He was just really good this year.
Yeah.
I mean, the team was good, but just Kofi just dominated in the post all season long. I mean, it was incredible just to watch him. There was not a team in the country that could really stop him. And yeah, as you said, that's just not something we've seen at Illinois. You don't see that much in college basketball, period, especially the way the game has changed. But yeah, we haven't seen somebody like that in probably a decade. And it was just fun, really fun to watch him and to have the season that he had. And yeah, I'm not ruling out that he could come back because I think it's still certainly a possibility. But if he doesn't, it was definitely a fun couple of years to watch him play for sure.
Yeah. You touched on how good the season was. There was a celebration at halftime of the Illinois spring football game on Monday night, which we will get to the spring football game here in a little bit, but they did reveal the Big Ten championship banner that will hang at State Farm Center. Ayo Dosunmu had about a minute on the mic to thank the fans, which was nice. And Brad Underwood did the same and all that stuff. And they did say that Ayo's jersey will be going into the rafters of the State Farm Center at some point in the fall. And I think Kofi qualifies because he was an All-American. So if he doesn't come back, I could definitely see them raising a 21 Cockburn banner as well. That's the kind of career that Kofi has had. So it was a nice moment at halftime of the spring game yesterday for them to get recognized and show the fans the trophy. First time fans have seen an Illinois sporting event since the pandemic started. So it was fun. We'll get more to the football in a little bit.
I thought about you though the other day when I don't know if one of the recruits or somebody there was an edit done of them wearing 11 in the edit for them, and I'm like, can we stop? Can we just stop giving out the number 11 jersey? Like, I just want it to end. Like we don't. And again, that was just a mock-up edit thing. It's not like official, but I just want it to stop. I don't want anybody else to wear that jersey.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're on the right side of that one.
No, we're not. We're not.
We've been talking a lot about the post and the lack of depth for the Illini there, but we did mention how deep the guard position is. Oh, before we leave the spring game ceremony or activities, one player not present, and it was Adam Miller. I don't know. Someone said, and I saw that he's not allowed to be there because he's in the portal or something. I don't know if that's true. Needless to say, he was not there. Austin Hutcherson was not there. He's been away from Champaign all season, so not surprised. And Orlando Antigua was not there. I think he is sick. That's what I've heard, is that he's dealing with a sickness, so he wasn't there. But those are the names that were not there. Just throwing that out there, not saying anything, although I did tune into some of Adam Miller's Instagram Live a couple nights ago. It did not sound like he's coming back, like whatsoever. Again, not surprised. I don't think he's coming back. But from what he was saying, I don't think it's going to happen. He said sometime early March he might announce, and he's not doing like a top list. He's just going to come out when he's ready and say where he's going. So that's the Adam Miller update from what I saw on Instagram Live the other night. But to the guards that we've got, last week we talked about Trent Frazier declaring for the draft and saying goodbye, but he's back. Not surprised. I thought most of the season that he would come back. I don't know what changed in a week though. That was interesting. What do you think about Trent coming back, and how's it help the team?
Yeah, I don't really know what changed either. It seemed like a really quick turnaround. But Trent Frazier has the opportunity now to be a all Big Ten player and maybe chase down a Big Ten Player of the Year. I mean, he's that good, and he was that good as a freshman. And then he, as we talked about, he took a backseat to Ayo for a couple years and let him kind of run the show. He still showed that he could do it at times when he needed to. He's more than just a spot up shooter. I mean, he can handle the ball. He can play defense. He can get to the basket. That backcourt with him and Curbelo is going to be fun. What's going to be around them, I don't know. And I think that's where a lot of this is going to come down to. But I mean, Trent knows what's at stake. He's going to get a 5th year. So he's going to get several more games to, shoot himself up into the record books, which he certainly will. I mean, he's already going to, he'll be in line to be one of the top scorers in school history. Now, obviously there would be I don't know if you'd have an asterisk next to it necessarily, because he'll have basically 5 full years, but that's still something. I mean, he's a darn good player, and he's been a huge part of this team. That program for the last 5 years, now almost be a half decade by the time he's done. So, I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's going to get the chance to do that, and to, play next to Curbelo and, make a run at something. But as I said, they're going to have to find something else around him, or it could be a rough year. But I'm happy that he's going to come back at least.
Yeah, we keep talking about it. It always comes back to the post. We just don't know enough about the roster yet to have a general consensus of what the Illinois team is going to look like or play like next year. I think Brad Underwood addressed the media today. I saw some tweets that he said Trent's the perfect culture guy for them. I mean, he should be. He's been there all 4 years. I started majority of the games, but like you said, it's a chance for him to put his stamp on the program and etch in some records, because he will be a top 20, 10, 15 scorer in the program. But like you said, for 5 years, that's even though it's 5 years, it's still saying a lot, because this program is pretty storied. But I think more so it just helps, like Brad said, with the culture. You keep a guy there that knows what it takes and knows what this coaching staff and the school and the university wants from their players. He's a good spokesperson, a good role model for the young guys to follow, because like we talked about last week, he came in as this one type of player, the scoring type of player. And by his senior year, he was the defensive stopper, and he took a back seat. So he's a good person to have in the young guy's ear. But he's not the only guy. They added Alfonso Plummer to the backcourt. I always get that confused. Backcourt as well, who is a transfer from Utah. He spent 2 years at a junior college, 2 years at Utah. So this is his 5th year and final year. He can stroke from what I've seen. He scored a lot of points for Utah and made a lot of 3-pointers. And I think that might have been the icing on the cake for Adam Miller not coming back, because if Adam comes back, there's just too many hands to feed. You just can't. You can't do it. I'm not speaking for Adam. I don't know that was the nail in the coffin, but Plummer adds another. He is Adam Miller 3 years older, I think. Very similar players, shooters, slashers that can get to the rim. A couple of my friends texted me and said that they stayed up and watched some Utah games because they had some cashola on Utah a couple times this year, and they wanted this guy bad. My friends that watched Utah play. So that's a good sign for Illinois. How much do you know about him, and how much more does that muck up the backcourt? Because we talk about how many guys they got, and this is just another one they add to it.
Right. No, I mean, what I know is pretty much the same thing is that he can shoot, he can score. At this point, you're just looking to find points.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be without your player of the year candidate. You're going to be without your 2 All-Americans. Yes, Trent's coming back and Curbelo is going to be there, and you'll have Grandison, but got to find points, and the kid can shoot. I mean, he's going to be, if Curbelo's going to distribute and get him points, I mean, it can work. He's going to come off the bench and, play that kind of backup point guard kind of role. I don't know that he's much of a passer necessarily, but I mean, that's kind of the role he's going to have. I hate, you're right about the Adam Miller comment. I hate that kind of came out that way, that's probably was the nail in the coffin, but it really shouldn't have been, in my opinion. I mean, I think Adam Miller had the potential to be the new face of the team.
Yeah.
But I just, whatever happened there, that's above my pay grade. So
I think it's one of those things that, Adam's in the transfer portal. Alfonso Plummer wanted to come to Illinois, so Illinois can't say no.
Right.
Because there's so many unknowns with Adam. So you got to take the guy that wants to come here and wants to play here. And if Adam doesn't want to be here enough to put his name in the transfer portal, then if Alfonso Plummer says, I'm going to commit to you, then Brandon was like, yep, come on.
Yeah,
we can't wait. We cannot wait for Adam Miller.
No, can't wait for anything like that. So yeah, it's a good pickup. Obviously, as I said, somebody that's going to be able to get you some points. He'll be a good addition to the backcourt there with Trent and Curbelo for sure.
Another interesting tidbit about that, Plummer is Puerto Rican descent. I think that makes 5 players with Puerto Rican, 5 Puerto Rican players. You got Trent has Puerto Rican heritage, Curbelo, of course, Plummer, RJ Melendez, the incoming freshman, and then Edgar Padilla, a walk-on for the Illini. So 5 players from Puerto Rico for Illinois, which is very cool. Illinois, since Brad got here, has been so diverse. Kofi's from Jamaica, Georgie is from Georgia. So much diversity on the team, which is very cool to see. So we've got Trent coming back, a transfer in Alfonso Plummer. Also get a freshman in Brandin Podziemski from Wisconsin, which I love because it seems like Wisconsin's always the one that goes in to Illinois and gets the Illinois guys. So Brad Underwood goes across the northern border and snags Brandin Podziemski, who's kind of taken off in this senior year. I've watched a lot of videos of him. He was the guy that I really wanted Illinois to get when it got late in the process. He can shoot the ball. He can get to the rim. Now, I want to preface with, I don't think the competition that he played in high school was very good. He averaged more than 35 points a game. But I don't think that was against very good competition at all, honestly. But when you're hitting the shots from the locations on the floor that he's hitting the shots, it doesn't matter who you're playing against if you've got that kind of range. So a huge get for Brad Underwood. And before I toss to you, I just think it's so interesting that Trent, Plummer, Podziemski, Adam Miller was a lefty. Like, there are so many lefties going through this Illinois program right now. All 3 guards that we're talking about today are left-handed. Just a little interesting fact for our listeners / viewers. But Illinois strengthens their 2021 recruiting class with Brandin Podziemski to go with RJ Melendez and Luke Goody. What do you think, Logan? I think you've seen some video too.
Yeah, no, obviously another kid that can score. I was going to bring this up. I saw somebody make a comment on Twitter. I think it was probably meant to be a slight, but it was also more just a temper your expectations kind of thing. Yeah. Basically, the tweet was the last, because he was the Mr. Basketball or whatever, basketball player of the year in Wisconsin. And the tweet referenced that the last one was Marcus Damask or whatever, who went to Southern. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, that player did go to Southern Illinois, but Damask is a good player. So, I mean, I would take Damask on this Illinois team right now, just because, they need the points wherever they can get him. So, I mean, as you said, I think he was coming from a school that didn't have the best competition and whatever the case may be. But again, back to what I just said about Plummer, just they need points. They got to find guys that can put the ball in the hoop. I think there's still a lot of questions, as we've talked about, with the rotation, with what this team's going to look like. I mean, right now you have 4 or 5, maybe 6 rotation pieces figured out. So you got to figure out who else is going to fall in the line here. So maybe it's him. We'll just have to see between the 3 freshmen and whoever else. So I mean, it's nice, as you mentioned, to go into Wisconsin and grab a player like that. That's definitely a nice get for sure.
It's crazy that April 20th, 2021, we're still talking about Illinois basketball season that ended a month ago.
That's just the world we live in right now.
While there's snow on the ground.
Doesn't get much more 2020, 2021 than that.
It's been a crazy year. But I think both of us are most passionate about Illinois basketball. So anytime there's news, which there's going to be constant news through the offseason, we're going to at least touch on it. Might not give you the best insight or any scoops that you don't get anywhere else, but it gives us a place to kind of decompress and talk through things. But Monday night, last night, was a first for me. My first pandemic sporting event. And it was fun. And also my first sporting event as a fan since first Illini sporting event as a fan since December 2012 when I came to a basketball game with my dad. And I remember Illinois played Western Carolina. I remember that. But yeah, it was fun. I went to the Illinois spring football game Monday night by myself, as I like to do. No one else to bother me. I can take some notes, and I took plenty of notes that we will get to. But it was fun. It was awesome to see Illinois fans in the stands able to root for their team. Haven't been able to do it since March of last year when Illinois beat Iowa at the State Farm Center. I believe that was the regular season finale. Yeah, regular season finale, March 8th or 9th of 2020. So it was fun to see. I think they sold 7,000 something tickets. But yeah, Logan, I know it was on TV. You said you didn't watch a whole lot, but just what'd you think of the fact that fans were back and you got to see this football program under new leadership of Brett Bielema?
Well, first off, normally I would say thanks for the invite, but I actually did receive an invitation and I opted to not drive 3 hours to watch a football game in 40-degree temperatures in April. So apologize about that. I chose to watch part of it on my TV while I was also watching Guardians of the Galaxy. Anyway.
Your favorite movie?
My favorite Marvel movie for sure.
Yeah.
Not my favorite movie though.
Correction.
I'm just excited about Illinois football.
I know I am too.
And we've talked about this before. I was also excited when the Lovie Smith regime started. That flamed out pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. There's just a different. I'm 3 hours away, and I can feel there's a different sort of passion for what's going on there right now. I can just see it through social media. Bielema seems like a guy who wants to be there. And I don't want to say that Lovie Smith didn't want to be there, but I just don't feel like he was ever fully invested into what that job was.
1,000%. That
job for him was either this is going to help me get another NFL job, or I'm going to retire here and I'm going to flame out and give it and be done with it. And I guess both of those things kind of happened, but that's just kind of the vibe I get. And I don't know if they're going to be any good this year. I mean, it's really kind of hard to tell off of a spring football game. Yeah. But obviously they have the pieces there to at least, be successful. And we talked about this last week or whenever it was, just being relevant in the Big Ten again. Mm-hmm. It's not like they play in a difficult division. I mean, just being able to win some football games in the fall would just be leaps and bounds over where they've been the last few years. So, no, I didn't watch a ton from the spring game last night. I did see some of the the highlights and some stuff from Twitter and people talking about the quarterback stuff and it's just good to see that people are excited about it again. And had I lived a little closer, that's definitely an event I would have been at. Just to be able to go to that again would have been cool. But I'm glad you were able to go. You would take notes. Are you taking notes on a notepad? Or are you typing them into your phone?
No.
You take your laptop? What's are these mental notes? You taking photos? I saw you're tweeting out photos of the goal line. Did anybody ever respond to you about the goal line or the goalpost? Anything like that?
Goalposts in the south end zone are not.
Why didn't you go out and fix them?
I don't know.
Why was Elise Menaker throwing a touchdown pass?
That's something that I was going to touch on here.
That's the one thing that I did happen to catch. I didn't understand why this was happening. I wasn't listening to the broadcast. I was just kind of eyeing it a little bit as the movie was going on. But why was that a thing?
And I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention at that point because it was right after the basketball thing, and I was searching pictures to see who was and wasn't at the basketball celebration. So I did not see it happen live. I saw it on Twitter afterwards. But that's one thing that I was going to say. Obviously, I was there, so I wasn't watching the BTN broadcast, but I saw multiple, at least 10 people talk about how open Bielema was on the sideline and how much access he gave BTN Monday night to how they were doing things and why they were doing things. As far as
something that Lovey never would have done.
That's exactly what I said. After Elise Miniker threw that touchdown, they tweeted it out, and I tweeted the video, and I said, "File this under things Lovie Smith would never do."
Yeah,
which makes, it makes Illinois football fun again.
Yeah, and this isn't a slight at Lovey as a coach. It's just that's just not who he is. There's just two different types of personalities. So I don't know.
Lovie Smith is an NFL coach. Brett Bielema is a college football coach. I know he spent the last 4 years in the NFL, but I think there were reasons for that. I don't think anyone except Brett knows. But I think he is so happy to be back in college and to be back in the Big Ten. He tried the SEC thing, and by Illinois standards, he was successful. He went 7-6, 8-5, 8-5, 7-6. Like, Illinois will take that, and he's doing that in the SEC. So I really think that he's so happy to be back in college that he's living life and he's having fun with it while also putting a reasonable product on the field. As far as last night, the format, I don't know a lot of spring formats. I don't know how Texas or Ohio State do their spring game, but Bielema last night did first team versus second team, like all night. First team scores were worth what they're actually scored for. Second team, if they were to get points, they were doubled. So what that says is if it's a close game, your first string's not very good. But if it's a blowout, your first string is at least a competent football team. And that's exactly what Illinois did. The first string absolutely blew the doors off the second string. So that was a good sign. Again, spring game probably can't take a whole lot from it, but there were a couple things that really stood out to me. The first defensive possession, Illinois had 5 men on the line. 3 were down linemen, 2 were standing outside linebackers. And there were 2 linebackers like where linebackers normally play, and then 4 defensive backs. So it was like almost like a 5-2-4.
Yeah.
5-2-4. Which I saw, I was like, they have 5 down linemen, but the ones on the ends stood. So that stuck out to me, and the defensive line dominated. Again, not a surprise going against the second team offensive line. Another thing was the tight ends are going to get used.
Yeah.
Daniel Barker and Luke Ford are going to catch a lot of passes. And Luke Ford had a really good game. I think he only had 4 or 5 catches, but one of them was the best catch of the night. One-handed touchdown in the corner of the end zone.
He's good.
I mean, he went to Georgia.
He's good. I know. I know.
He was a top 100, top 75 player out of high school. And he caught 2 passes last year. Just it's so asinine that you just don't utilize a top 100 player in your offense. But that's neither here nor there now. I think him and Daniel Barker could really have breakout seasons. I really do. With this offense. Brandon Peters was spectacular. Don't have his stats in front of me, but he had a very good completion percentage, more than 200 passing yards, a couple touchdowns on through the air, and at least 1 on the ground. He looked like what you need from a QB1 in the Big Ten. And he kind of looked like a Bielema quarterback. I hate using this term, but a game manager that makes the right decisions. I know I'm kind of rambling on here, but something I didn't write down that just stuck out to me. And it was different for me watching from the stands, because normally every other football game I've been to, I'm on the sideline looking through a camera, focused on the ball. So I'm not able to see everything going on with the line or the receivers. But I just noticed Monday night, it looked like the receivers were like running actual routes. And I don't know if that's something that Lovey's offenses didn't do, but I could see the receivers to me, it looked like they were running better routes. Like they were finding the soft spot in the zone or making that sharp break. And again, I that's something I've never really focused on, but that's what it seemed like to me. I think those are my big things. Running backs look really good. Chase Brown, Chase Hayden, Reggie Love. I think the offense could be pretty good because you get a lot of the O-line back. You're only replacing one there. Only question mark is the receivers. But they played okay. Again, spring game. But a lot of different guys caught balls. So that's my spring game breakdown. For the most part, I walked away pretty happy with what I saw last night.
Not that this what you're talking about isn't important, but I think as also a spectator of sports, what was the overall experience like going to a live sporting event? Granted, it was a scrimmage and it was obviously far less than full capacity, but what was that kind of experience like to do that again?
It was different. Like I said, I was by myself, and there was a group of 4 to my left, about 5 seats down. A group of started as 4, turned into like 8 to 10 to my right. Again, 4 or 5 seats down, and then 2 older guys 2 rows behind me, and a family of 4 2 rows in front of me. So I didn't necessarily feel cramped. I think we could have been spread out a little more. If I would have used all 4 tickets that I'd gotten, it would have been a lot closer. Like I don't think there would have been there wouldn't have been 4 seats between me and the people on both sides. There would have been like 2. But it was different just because there are fans there, but it was very quiet still. That could have been could have been because it was a spring game, not much into it. 75% of the people left after halftime because that's when they honored the basketball team. And
right.
I mean, it was cold and it was a blowout. I mean, the first string was just doing whatever they wanted. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm glad I went. I didn't feel uncomfortable at all, other than cold uncomfortable. But I would definitely go again.
We'll work on getting you a no one asked us media credential for the fall. So you don't have to sit with the peasants down in the seats.
I probably could.
You can be up with your pregame spread in the
I probably could.
In the box.
That was one of my favorite parts of the. I mean, most fans hate the 11 o'clock Saturday kickoffs for Illinois football, but the media loved them because it gave us more time to turn the story. But the best part for me was they had breakfast in the press box. So before the game, you go get your bacon and eggs and biscuits and gravy and all that in the press box. And then about halftime, they had Jarling's frozen custard, whatever. So yeah, if anything, I'll apply for credentials for us just so we can get that. And at this point, they might get approved for some of the. No, never mind. Not going to get into that. Not going to get into that. But maybe once we have a guest or like we prove that we're like actual journalists here, which.
Are you trying to be an actual journalist, Craig?
I've always been an actual journalist, Logan.
But I thought you got out of it and now you're just a fan.
Hybrid.
Ooh, hybrid. That's good. I like it.
Before we leave football, though, I know we're talking smack on each other here, but before we leave football, Illinois football did get some commits that I think are pretty big. 2 of them from Central Illinois, which is something that the previous regime did not do. Another one from Logan's backyard. So we'll start with that one. Hunter Whitenack, offensive lineman from you got his hometown.
New Prairie High School.
New Prairie High School. In Indiana. So Brad Underwood goes to Indiana, gets Luke Goody. Now Brett Bielema goes to Indiana and gets an offensive lineman. So what do you think of Illinois' recruiting efforts so far? I mean, he's a Bielema guy. I mean, if
No,
you
no,
look at him, he's huge.
well, I mean, no, he is like that kid is huge. I've been looking at his numbers. He's like 6'7", 6'8". He's like 300 pounds. But just going back to the whole recruiting thing in general, just the effort that coaching staff gave to call every school, every football coach in the state of Illinois, actually caring about that type of stuff. That's just, again, I'm not trying to put down the last coaching staff because they did it their own way, and that's just how it was. But it's just night and day difference between the style and the effort and everything they're getting. So yeah, absolutely. I don't obviously know a ton about the kid. I do know he's from up here, but it's a good start. Just crossing the state line and getting players from from not too far away. So that there's a lot of talent within a 3-hour drive of Champaign. And I think that's something that obviously people have focused in on St. Louis and Chicago and stuff. But like, there's a lot of talent. You can get to a lot of places within 3 hours. And for those kids that are, for that, if that's something that they're interested in or looking to do, whether that's so they can travel to home or whether that's so their family could see them play and whatnot, there's a lot of options there for football and for basketball.
Yeah. Obviously neither of us are recruiting guys, so we just kind of react to what we can see on paper. And what I like to do when I don't know a whole lot about a kid is look at his offer list, see what other schools have offered him. So for White Knack, he had a Cincinnati offer, a Ball State, Central Michigan, Tulane, Western Michigan, and UAB, and then a couple FCS schools. 24/7 does list Iowa, Notre Dame, Purdue, and Wisconsin on his interest list, but none of them offered. So looks like the main competition was Cincinnati, which isn't huge competition for him, but it's a good program. Obviously, they went to New Year's Six last year, so that's a good get. But like I said, he's a Bielema guy. 6'7", 290 is what 24/7 Sports has him listed as. I mean, that kind of says what their focus is on, is that offensive line, which is exactly what he did. Bielema did at Wisconsin. So he's got 3 offensive line commits already in the class of 2022. 3 of the 5 are offensive linemen. The other one this week was Clayton Leonard, who is one of the Central Illinois guys from Iroquois West in Gilman. His offer sheet, I don't think was very long whatsoever. Central Michigan, Illinois State, Toledo, and Illinois are the 4 offers that he has on 24/7 Sports. So I don't know if it was a matter of they got him early in the process or if he's a late bloomer or what, but I love the fact that he's from Iroquois West, a program that honestly isn't notoriously very good in the Central Illinois area. But the kid's 6'4", 265. It's always cool to see guys like that go to the University of Illinois, and Brett Bielema is targeting them. And like you said before, it's so cool that the staff called every high school coach in the state. Like, I don't know of any other coach at the flagship university in any state that would do that. I mean, there might be.
It just shows they care.
Right.
That they care about it. And, even bringing in, as you talked about, the kid from Iroquois West, I mean, I don't know that he's going to be an impact player for that team, for that program. But just the fact that they're trying to get the local talent, get the local kids, because that's what, that's what the fans care about. It's great when somebody like that has success. And if he turns out to be a legitimate offensive lineman for him, that's a great story. That's that's going to bring people out. So yeah, I love that they're making that effort to go after local kids.
Yeah, the one I liked this week though was Hank Beatty from Rochester. He's a wide receiver. He's the highest ranked of the group right now that committed this week, and he did have some pretty legit offers, mainly Iowa State. Former Illinois quarterback Nathan Shieldhouse was hot after Beatty. I think that was the main competition for him. He's got offers from Air Force, Central Michigan, Iowa State, Northern Illinois. and then a couple FCS schools, including Southern Illinois, which we know Nick Hill loves that Rochester program. And that's another thing. I don't think it's ever a bad thing to take players from programs like that, because Derek Leonard runs a top-notch program at Rochester's, perennial state champs every year. So they know how to win. They know how to get it done. Beatty is listed as a wide receiver. I think he's playing a lot of quarterback for Rochester this year. He's just a fast kid. Saw him as a sophomore. Play some at state. I think I saw him. Maybe. Talented kid. He's not the biggest kid. He's 5'11", 180. So probably a slot guy, maybe like a Zach Grant that Illinois had a couple years ago in receiver. But the Rochester, Illinois pipeline's been successful. Wes Lunt had a pretty good career after he committed to Oklahoma State and played there for a year. But fun to talk a little Central Illinois talent with football, because, again, Lovey he took some preferred walk-ons from Central Illinois, but that's just not the same. Offering these kids scholarship, it means something for kids from Central Illinois to get offered a scholarship from Illinois, not just we're offering you a spot like Bryce Barnes, Dylan Thomas. There's been a couple other guys, but it's cool to see. So,
yeah.
And I'm with Logan. I think I'm really excited about football right now. I think I texted you early in the basketball season. I was like, is it weird? Or no, it wasn't early in the basketball season. It was after Bielema got hired. So January or February. Do you remember what I was going to, you know what I'm going to say?
I don't remember. I have an idea, but go ahead.
I'm pretty sure I texted you at one point, like, am I crazy for being more excited about Illinois football than I am Illinois basketball?
Okay. Yeah.
That's just the vibe I get right now. I think Bielema was a great hire for what Illinois needed. So we'll see. Again, we were watching a spring game against guys that are in the same program. Like who knows? It might crash and burn. We don't know yet, but at least Illinois has a college coach that's been there, done that, and not an NFL guy trying to remake himself, which is nice.
Couldn't agree more.
We will round out our football conversation with our Salukis. How about that?
Go Dogs.
Dogs sneak into the playoffs, man.
I didn't know if it happened, man. There was a lot of negativity and pessimism from the national people that were given their projections for the playoffs, and Southern wasn't in the mix in a lot of those. So when I saw that, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Very happy for Nick.
They go 5-3, right? I think that was their final record. They had 2 weeks off, I think, because like we touched on, I think last week, Illinois State canceled their season. Western Illinois canceled their season. And then Southeastern Louisiana was like, hey, we'll play you. They came to Carbondale, a ranked team came to Carbondale, played a ranked Salukis team, and SIU won a shootout. I watched parts of it. I was on vacation getting ready for a wedding while the game was going on Saturday. So I watched parts of it and then kept getting the updates. So I knew they won, which was awesome. But like you said, from everything that I read, there is FCS football bracketologists out there that I looked at, and they barely had SIU on the bubble even after winning that game. But they had 4 of their 5 wins were ranked wins, which is really impressive, especially when one's North Dakota State and all that stuff. So I wasn't expecting a lot. And then Sunday we were driving back from vacation, and I completely forgot about the selection show. And I drove my 6-7 hour shift, and I went on Twitter after that shift. So like 8 hours after the selection show, I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this. How did this happen? I don't know what your reaction was. I don't know if you watched the selection show live or just saw a tweet or what, but I was in total shock. Maybe the most shocked I've been in like 3 months.
No, I was definitely shocked. I wasn't watching the show. I was kind of out and about on Saturday morning, or Sunday morning, whenever it was. But yeah, I saw the tweet start to come across, and I was pleasantly surprised. As I said, did not see it coming. Haven't watched a lot of SIU football this year, just for whatever reason. But I'm just happy. I'm just happy for Nick. I'm happy for that program and the people down there that are obviously still with the program, so close to the program. It's just nice to see. They haven't been in the playoffs since
2009,
my freshman year.
Yeah, I think we talked about that earlier.
Yeah. My freshman year.
Yeah.
The Christie, I think it was the last year at McAndrew.
Yep. Lost to
William and
Mary.
Yeah.
So I think 2009.
Yeah. Just happy for them and happy for Nick, and see what they got. I mean, obviously they've had some big wins already under their belt this season, so it wouldn't shock me if they pulled off another one or two of them, but we'll just have to see. They kick off on Saturday.
Yeah. Obviously all the listeners, viewers know our love for the Salukis because they seem to come up in every episode in some form or fashion. So we do have a lot of people down there that we're close with that means a lot that SIU football is back, because Nick Hill, the head coach, DuQuoin, born and raised, played at SIU. So I don't think there's anyone more invested in that football program or that university than Nick Hill. So happy for him. Happy for everyone involved in the athletic department, because they got snubbed last year. They should have been in last year and they didn't make it. As I still don't understand how, but yeah, good on Nick and all them to make it. They play Saturday. I don't know the time. Do you know the time?
I had it up earlier. I don't remember now.
Saturday they play Weber State, which is in Utah. So it's probably like a 3:00 kick for us, 3 or 4 for us, since it's in Utah on the western
could be
part.
Right.
But yeah, happy to see SIU back. Now let's get the basketball team in the tournament here in the next couple of years, and SIU's back on top. You got that pulled up real quick before we move on?
Well, their website's not moving very quickly, so no.
Okay, it's Saturday afternoon, probably on ESPN Plus if you have a subscription. But the last thing I want to touch on real quick, something that me and Logan have been excited for a long time. MLB The Show came out today. Did you get a chance to play? Have you?
Yes, I have been playing a little bit. Yes,
I played a little bit this morning before we left,
and I have some thoughts.
Okay,
I don't know if now's the time to get into it or not. But we
got a little time. Unless it I don't think
no,
we have
it's fine.
30, no, it's I don't fine. Think we have 30 minutes. But
I want to preface this by saying that the game has literally been live for 10 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and I've spent all of maybe total of an hour and a half on it.
Yeah,
but I'm a franchise guy. I don't know if we've talked about this or not.
Yeah.
I play a lot of franchise. I sim a lot of franchise. I just keep hoping that one day they'll devote some time to it, and they still haven't done it. And I think there are things about it. It's one of those things that they have good things one year and then they try to fix something next year and they take away good things. And it's just like, why can't you just actually make it better? I don't know. Again, I don't want to get too far into it because I just started playing it, but I'm just noticing things that I'm just used to when I'm playing the game that I would expect to be there. Okay, I'm in my off season of my first year. I simmed through it basically just to see what would happen. And in the free agency, I can't even see ages anymore. I have to go through the player card for each individual player to see how old the player is. It's just stupid stuff like that. I don't know. This is me just being nitpicky. I understand that, but I just keep hoping at some point they're going to actually give franchise mode some of their attention. And I mean, it's not Diamond Dynasty and March to October and Road to the Show are probably their most played games or modes or whatever. So they're just not giving franchise mode. I haven't done the stadium editor thing. So that's the big draw that I know people are excited about. I haven't done it yet. As I said, I've only been on the game is it tough to do?
Yeah. I tried to start one from scratch and I don't know what I'm doing. So
yeah, well, I'm excited to at least give it a shot, but
they have some cool pre-made stadiums. That's the first thing that I went to was Stadium Creator. They've got like 15 to 20 pre-made ones with a bunch of different backgrounds and big ones and small ones and ones as big as your head. But I hope you got that reference. But it's tough to start one from scratch. Is what I found out. There is a tutorial I think you can watch. I tried to skip through it because I was like, oh, I'll figure this out, and it's gonna take me a little bit longer. I'm one game into my franchise, so I haven't got into any of the issues that you brought up. I was in the middle of doing a fantasy draft on the show, but I think it's timed out, so my Xbox turned off. But
yeah, mine just did the same thing. I wasn't planning on doing that, going through the whole season like I did. But I just kind of wanted to see what would happen. Like there's a lot of things that are different. I've noticed, like free agency, like all these good players that were always like it always automatically defaulted to 31 million a year.
Yeah.
When you're trying to re-sign him. Now, like that's just not the case. Like Javi Baez and Chris Bryant were only like 16, and
well, that's because they suck.
Could potentially, yes, but I didn't really see that number for a lot of people. So yeah. But they do suck. The Cubs are winning right now, for the record.
I know, I'm watching. Cardinals lost. Blew a game. Blew it in the 8th.
Hopefully the Cubs don't do that. But we'll talk the show plenty more. Yeah. I don't want to, berate it yet, but
I will say I played one game with my Cardinals franchise. Tommy had been let off the game with a home run, first pitch. And
boy.
Tyler O'Neill hit it inside the park home run.
Wow.
So, and I won 6-5.
Proud of you.
Almost blew that one, but so yeah, that's where we're at. It looks good. I think graphics for me look better. I don't know if it's because I'm on a next gen or the new.
No, they always
Xbox. But yeah, it looks good, and the game plays well, like it always does. So I haven't got as deep into franchise as Logan has, but I'm the same way. That franchise is my mode. So it just frustrates me. We'll have a lot to talk about.
I just wish they would give it more of their time.
Yeah.
And no, I don't necessarily think they need to revamp it, give it a huge overhaul, but there are just things about it that have just never been changed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But that's my initial review of MLB The Show 21.
I like it.
I can't wait to dissect it more. We have not figured out if we can play each other though.
No, we'll get there figure one that day. Out soon. We talked about just playing each other on the episode tonight as we were like talking about Illinois basketball, but maybe
that might be a thing. That might be a thing for this summer when we don't actually have like a ton of stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
we'll just play and
that's true.
Just chat for an hour.
That's true. We've got some ideas. We are working really hard on our first guest. We've got a yes, but we don't have a time or a date to get that person on yet. But we do hopefully have a guest lined up. What's that face for? I know, tease, right?
Guest?
Tease, right? Who would want to talk to us?
I thought there was going to be a guest on this episode. Where's the guest?
Okay, hold on. Oh, he's sleeping. I can't wake him up.
Oh, this was going to be our first official guest on the show. Don't wake him up. Don't do it. You're going to ruin it.
Oh yeah, he's knocked out, like on his side.
Well, you lucked out.
I should have. I thought about it mid-episode. I was like, I should have brought him up. He just moved. I should have brought him up at the beginning, but I didn't. But we'll get him on soon. He's got a lot to say, and I'll. I think he's dreaming. But yeah, we got a guest lined up. We'll try and get him on soon, and get that out to you guys.
It's a him. It's a him.
Dang it.
It's a guy.
Dang it.
Oh, shoot.
That narrows it down 50%.
I have to really start to figure this out. Who this person is? I don't know yet. Craig won't tell me anything. So
no, that's not
true. He doesn't tell me where he goes on vacation. He doesn't tell me who our guest is. I just have to figure everything out for myself.
Why are you lying? That's coming though. We're gonna get it set up and we're gonna have a guest for you guys, and it's gonna be a good one. I promise you'll be really interested in hearing what they have to say. Anything else, Logan?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything for this week. Just a little bit of a heads up for those listeners. We keep saying that we're going to go on a regular schedule at some point, but I want to be honest with you guys. That's just not going to happen. We're going to basically record a show and get a show out whenever we want.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop saying that it's going to be on Sundays because it's just not. Like, I'm looking ahead to next week. Next week, Sunday night, as much as I don't really care about it right now, is the Oscars.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. So I'm probably not going to want to record on Sunday. So I don't know. Whenever we have a show to put out for the world, we'll put it out. I'm just not going to start telling you. I'm going to stop telling you that it's going to be on Mondays because that's just not happening. So
that was the vision, but I don't. I think we're kind of at.
And as we've said, at some point maybe we will, but for right now, no. It's just that's just not happening.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't have anything else for this episode, but I might have some things to talk about next week. We'll see.
Yeah, there was we covered a lot today. Again, kind of weird to keep talking basketball on this because we're almost to March or almost to May. But that's what's happening. That's what we want to talk about. If you got anything that you want us to talk about or any questions for us, hit us up on our Twitters or we got the email at the beginning of the YouTube video. You can go back. It's nooneaskedus2021@gmail.com. We're on Twitter and YouTube as well.
Yeah, give us a follow on Twitter.
Please do. We're slacking on there. We need to get more than 25 followers.
We're working on it.
Maybe that guest will get us some followers.
Maybe getting a guest will help.
Everyone's tired of hearing us already.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing us too.
I know, me too. No one asked us to do this, but here we are.
Quite literally.
For Logan Lee, I'm Craig Choate. That's episode 9. No one asked us. We'll see you again next week-ish.
Whenever. Bye.